Let's consider the question of whether Muhammad, peace be upon him, could have been the Qur'an's author. His own wife, Aisha, and close companions informed us that he was a poor poet on a personal level. Aisha was asked, "Did the Prophet used to relate anything from poetry?" She said, "It was a most detestable thing to him, except that at times he used to relate a verse from the person of Banu Qais, and he unknowingly jumbled up the words. Abu Bakr told him it was not like that. So the Prophet said, 'By God, I am not a poet, and neither is it appropriate for me.'" When we also take into consideration that he could not read or write, then it is impossible to accept the proposition that he authored the Qur'an, the most important and profound work in the entire history of Arabic literature. Who then could have been its author? When we appreciate the poetic landscape of 7th century Arabia, it becomes clear that its origin cannot be a human being. To the master poets of Arabia, the choice of words used in a poem was an extremely important part of determining its quality. Hence, literary critics would pay very close attention to the word choice when scrutinizing a composition. Kitab al-Aghani is a famous encyclopedic collection of Arabic literature. It contains a story about the renowned poet Hassan ibn Thabit. In the market town of Ukaz, a centre of poetic readings and competitions, Hassan ibn Thabit read out the following verses in praise of the heroism of his own tribe. لَنَا الْجَفَنَاتُ الْغُرَّ يَلْمَعْنَا بِالدُّهَا وَأَسْيَافُنَا يَقْتُرْنَا مِنْ نَجْدَةٍ دَمًا. Ours are the balls of white twinkling in the forenoon, and our swords drip with blood on account of our bravery. These verses employ one of the typical rhyme schemes of classical Arabic poetry and use vivid imagery to glorify the tribe. The literary critic and Nabigha, one of the most revered Arab poets of the late pre-Islamic times, was unimpressed and had this to say about the verses. He said Jafanat, but that is only a few balls. Jifan would have indicated a multitude of balls, and the Arabs boast by what is many and not what is few. He said al-ghurra, but that is used to refer to a speck of white. Al-bayad would have signified whiteness, which is more extensive and total. He said yalma'na, they twinkle, but yashrukna, they give off light, would have been more intense in meaning. He said bid-duha, in the forenoon, but everything twinkles in the forenoon. It would have been better to say bid-duja, in the night. He said asyaf, but that means only a few swords, whereas suyuf would have indicated many swords. He said yakturna, they drip with blood, but yajrina, they flow, would have been more impressive. He said dama, which indicates less blood, whereas dima would have been more. We can see that An-Nabigha found fault with almost each of Hassan's choice of words. Such was the high literary standard at the time. When it comes to the Qur'an, many accounts show that Arabia's finest poets, some of whom were public opponents of Islam, were mesmerized by its eloquence. As increasing numbers of converts to Islam held the Qur'an up as a tangible miracle of Arabic literature, sworn opponents of the faith, despite their every attempt to dismiss it, were unable to meet the Qur'an's challenge to produce a chapter like it. And if you are in doubt about what we have sent down upon our servant Muhammad, then produce a chapter the like thereof. If the author of the Qur'an had been a human being, then logically other human beings of a similar or greater literary capability would have been able to produce something on the level of the Qur'an. But in over 1,400 years, none have been able to meet its challenge. The Qur'an makes its origin loud and clear. Your companion Muhammad is neither astray nor being misled, nor does he say anything of his own desire. It is no less than inspiration sent down to him. He was taught by one mighty in power.